Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 9 of the SMCast. If you guys are unaware, the SMCast is a weekly podcast that we do over here where I, your host, SM22, just talk about random things, life things, YouTube things. If you guys need any help, just let me know, and maybe I'll make an episode on it. Who knows? But today's episode, we are going to be talking about what equipment is best to start a YouTube channel. And this is because a lot of people are looking to start YouTube channels. Especially a lot of people that I know, they either have a YouTube channel where they make crappy videos, or they are looking to start a YouTube channel and just don't know exactly what to do. So I am here today to dish out the dirt, to let you guys know what it is that you need to do, what it is that you could do to improve, and how you can get that done. So let's jump into this. Let's just talk about news for a little bit real quick. This is the part of the show where I like to talk about just mostly world news. I do like to keep these episodes very like open-ended, just like timeless, but I do tend to talk about stuff that's going on currently. So if you guys do want to skip this portion of the show, I do understand. This part right here, we're going to be talking about politics for a little bit. Not for too long, but I feel like this is pretty important. So, this morning, at the time of recording this morning, the whistleblowers, which are pretty much they're the alert guys, were testifying to Congress, U.S. Congress. If you guys are in another country, you probably don't care about this. But they were testifying to U.S. Congress about what the President Donald Trump, was talking to Ukraine about. And I had to go to school, so I didn't see all of it, but I saw a bit of it. And what they were saying made it sound like the president was going to be impeached. I'm not entirely sure. I've gone on record. I'm not a fan of Trump. I don't think he is the best president. He's not a horrible person. I understand why there are Trump fans out there, and I won't ridicule you for being a Trump fan, but I just personally, I just don't like him. For a multitude of reasons, I'm not going to get into that now, but with him being impeached and everything, not with him being impeached, but with the possibility of him being impeached out in the air, I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen, but who knows? Maybe it'll be something different this time, maybe it'll be better, but like I've said, no guarantees on what's going to happen. So, with that out of the picture, let's just get into this actual episode. So, YouTube channels. I know I said I'd be talking about news for a minute, but that was basically all I had to say, and I didn't want to be on that for too long. But starting a YouTube channel, I made a podcast episode called "How to Start a YouTube Channel," and I also made a video called "How to Start a YouTube Channel." I believe, I'm not entirely too sure, but in this episode, we're going to be talking about what equipment you are going to use to start a YouTube channel, because in the last one, I just said how to start it, and I did go over equipment for a little bit, but I didn't go too far in depth with it. So, in this episode, we shall. So, first thing you're going to need is a computer. Whether it's a PC or a Mac, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure that it's powerful enough to run whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to be a gaming channel, then your computer is probably going to have to be pretty high-tech. But if you are a channel that is mostly face cam stuff, or just audio stuff, then your computer does not have to be too powerful. I consider myself a gaming channel, but my computer is not powerful at all. My computer is about as powerful as a stick of butter. So just take that with a grain of salt. Like, if you guys can tell, when I record stuff off OBS and everything, it is a little low quality, but unfortunately, that's just how it comes. And I'm trying to get a new computer, so I'm probably going to get that really soon. So I'm not entirely too sure what's going to happen with that. I don't want to have to transition like series and everything. So, like I said, I'm not entirely too sure what's going to happen. But I'm trying to save up for it. So maybe in the by Christmas, I'm hoping to have a new one. But the kind that I have is an HP laptop. I think it was a 2016 model. I think 2015, 2016. I'm not entirely sure how much it was, because my parents got it for me for a going to high school kind of present. It's actually kind of nice. I do like it. It's not bad. Trust me. It's good for what it is. but it just doesn't run too many powerful things. Like, just if I wanted to play an online game and stream it, I could not do that. Unless it was like Stickman or something like that. It has to be something that does not take too many resources. So, with your computer, it just kind of depends on what kind of content you're doing. Like, if you are exclusively like let's say you're a fashion channel, all right? You're doing like clothing lines and stuff. You might not even want a computer unless you're editing on that computer. And editing software is very important. So we're getting to that in a second. But depending on like what you want to do, if you have a fashion channel, then just use the computer that you already have. Like, everyone has a computer. Just use that one. Like, whether it's a powerful one or a butter one, it doesn't really matter all too much with that. Because it's very face cam based, so you don't even need like a webcam on the computer. You just need like a camera, like an actual camera, or even your phone. It just kind of depends on what you want to do. But talking about cameras, let's transition into cameras for a second, because we'll get into editing softwares last. Cameras. So very inexpensive cameras are the way to go, especially in the beginning, because you don't want to invest too much money into a YouTube channel from the get-go. For example, I've been doing YouTube for almost 3 years now, and I've invested maybe, I would say about $200 to $300 in total into it. I spent, well, actually, you know what? That's kind of a lie. I would say, just if I were just to say it, about $500 just in total. And that's because I take it very seriously, and I just kind of love to do it. So if it was taken away from me, I would probably go insane. But it's just, it all, like I said, it just comes down to who you are. The webcam that I have, I'm hoping to upgrade webcams, but the one that I have, you could buy on Amazon for about $60. It is called the Logitech C220X, something like that. It's Logitech C922. C920, C922. Logitech is a pretty good brand. If you just go onto Logitech's website even and just kind of like look at what they have pretty good stuff, especially for webcams and stuff. You can find Logitech Brios, which are very good. I'm hoping to get a Brio next, maybe. I'm not entirely too sure which one I'm going to get, but I'm going to get some. I'm going to get one. So, like I said, it's up to you. If you're doing gaming stuff, a webcam is great. If you're doing vlogging stuff, just use your phone camera. Like unless you're going hardcore with it, like there's a difference between going hardcore with it, whereas you get $1,000 to spend on a DSLR camera. But I'm talking about what you're starting with, you know? And with the computer, it's kind of different because you have to start with a certain kind of computer. But with webcams, you really don't. When you're starting, use your phone camera. Like, whether it's, even if you're doing gaming stuff, like I was using my Logitech camera, but it's very, like I said, with my computer, it's very laggy, so trying to record like two things at once while playing the game makes it just really bad. So I've been using my phone camera to record my face cam in the last few episodes of my Let's Play series, and it's been working out pretty good, actually. Like, just in editing, it's been working out okay, and it's more convenient, at least. So from that standpoint, I can see it being more of a, I'm sorry, I am tired. With that, I can see it being more of a better idea to just use my phone camera for the time being until I get a new computer. But like with vlogging, especially, like whenever I go out and vlog or record stuff outside of the computer, I just use my phone camera, and it works well for the most part. And I know the main complaint with a lot of people is, oh, my phone camera isn't that great, and I understand that. So if you don't have a good phone camera, then just either get a new phone when you get the opportunity, which you should do anyways. I'm not saying go out and get the iPhone 11, the Samsung 10, you know, just like the camera that I have is the Samsung Note 8, and the camera on it works really well. I actually really like how this camera looks, especially when it's all cleaned off and nice and ready to go, just because it looks good. And I feel like all cameras from the Samsung 7 or 8 era onwards, so every camera about 2015 onwards, looks really good. Because my phone camera is, I think the Note 8 was made in 2016. I may be wrong, but I'm not sure. I think it's 2016. And there was when it became like a pretty good kind of camera. So with just going with your phone camera, you can go off of that. It does make more sense to use a phone camera than to spend $1,000 on a camera that you are using to satisfy a small audience from the get-go. And another thing that you should know, don't spend too much money on your YouTube channel in the beginning because you're not sure what's going to happen. You're not going to become an overnight success. The 1% of 1%ers of you will, but you're just a small fish in the ever-growing ocean, and that's how you're just gonna have to start. And it's kind of like that game, that fish game, where you are a small fish and you just have to eat smaller and smaller fish, and as you eat smaller fish, you get bigger, and then you're able to eat bigger fish. It's just like that game. You're growing at a snail's pace, especially at first. In the beginning, in the first like 5 to 10 minutes of that game, or maybe not 5 to 10 minutes, but in the first like half of your fish life, you're growing very small, but then you start expanding pretty big, and that's where it becomes kind of unreasonable, because like a lot of people don't grow, but it's just like that. You're going to be growing at a snail's pace at first, which is why you shouldn't spend too much money from the get-go. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're searching for cameras and stuff. And another problem that I hear with phone cameras is that the microphone isn't good, which is why we're going to swap over to microphones and stuff. There are good $20 microphones that you can find out there. I wouldn't trust them all too much. I never had that $20 microphone, so it's probably not going to be worth it for you. I opened up with just using my computer microphone, and that was terrible. So I've vowed to never use that ever again. And right now I'm using a Blue Yeti, which is about $100. This was my second microphone. The first microphone I had is called a Blue Snowball. It's about $45 to $50, which is pretty reasonable. It's basically a microphone that looks like a ball that's on like a little tripod stand. And I had that for about 2 years, and it works wonders. It was great, actually. It was just, it was really cool to be able to just use it. And it was pretty easy, and it was cheap. $45-$50, you cannot beat that. And it sounds studio quality. The only reason why I upgraded was because I wanted to give my sister the Blue Snowball, and I just wanted to upgrade because I just wanted to upgrade. I feel like you should upgrade microphones before you upgrade webcams. Like, just upgrade a microphone and then upgrade a webcam. Because microphone quality, sound is way more important than video. Audio over video, always. Just keep that in mind. And it's very important to have a microphone in which you don't sound like this. You can't sound very staticky. You have to sound like a normal human being. You have to sound as if you are there talking to your viewer face to face. You have to sound as if they could just take off their earphones or lower the volume of their device, talk to someone, and they sound the same as you do in the video. So while the Blue Snowball gets you somewhat there, it doesn't get you all the way, but it gets you there for the most part, and for a cheap price. And that's if you're connecting it to your computer. So all gaming channels start out with a Blue Snowball. Just no matter what, just start out with the Blue Snowball. That's my best recommendation. If you are one of those vlogging channels, you get a lapel mic. Get a kind of lapel mic. I have a Hotech lapel mic. It does sound less quality than the Snowball. It was about $40. But it's a wireless lapel microphone, as in you just connect the receiver into your camera. Then you turn on both ends. You clip on one end to you, and then you have the little microphone bud thing. It's like if you've ever been to church or to like a speaking event. It's what the person uses, the person who's speaking, because nowadays there's no microphone that stands there. They all just walk around with a little microphone just like connected to their ear or on their shirt or something. Those are lapel microphones, and those are very important in vlogging and stuff, because you can't always be right up next to your device, to your camera's microphone. Sometimes you got to be a little further away, and that's where lapel microphones work. With the DSLR cameras, they can be equipped with like high-tech microphones and stuff, but again, those are hella expensive. So starting out, I do not recommend getting one of those. I've looked, and there may be like $1,300. It's kind of crazy. I don't have that kind of money. If you have that kind of money and you're down with spending that much, I mean, I can't stop you, so go ahead, I guess. But it's just, I mean, it's not really worth it, at least, especially at first. If you're like 100,000 subscriber channel and you want to start vlogging all of a sudden, then sure, why not? I guess, how could it couldn't hurt. So it's, in that situation, you can use stuff like that. But I do recommend either a Hotech lapel microphone for vlogging or a Blue Snowball for gaming stuff. And with webcams, just use your phone if you're vlogging, or use like a Logitech webcam if you are gaming. Or even if you're gaming, just use your phone webcam. It doesn't really matter. Like, pretty much just 90% of your problems with getting the right equipment could just be solved by your phone alone. And that is where we come to editing. Editing is probably one of the most important aspects of video, because you can't just have this one long strand where you have just pauses and stuff between it and just cut it all together. Nope. It has to be edited properly, and that means cutting stuff out, adding effects, doing stuff like that. There are loads of editing softwares you can use. I have a tutorial on how to use the editing software that I use, Power Director. It's on the channel. I'll link it in the description, actually. And with that, I use it. It's on my phone, so if you have an Android, you can use Power Director. If you have an iOS device, you can use iMovie. I've never used iMovie, so I'm not really too sure whether or not to give it the SM22 seal of approval or not. But from what I've heard, it sounds good. So there's really nothing that I can say against it. So it's pretty. It sounds like it's pretty good. So I would just say use that. If you have a PC and you are a PC kind of editor, the one editor that I can say, without being Adobe Photoshop, because we're trying to be as cheap as possible, or, I mean, not Photoshop, Adobe Premiere. We're trying to be as cheap as possible. Let's pretend you got zero monies, alright, but somehow you have a computer. HitFilm 4 Express. HitFilm 4 Express is just so good, and so happy, and so useful, and the bestest ever to use, just because it's just great. It's just amazing, and it's the same thing as Adobe Premiere, but it's free. There are kind of somewhat restrictions on it, but it's nothing that you can't do with Premiere and everything. So it's almost the same. It's like Premiere Lite, but 99% of what Premiere's got. And I don't use HitFilm because I do not have the time to sit at my computer, my super slow computer, and edit with HitFilm, because it would just be a nightmare. It really would. I edited with HitFilm for almost a year, and those were like the times where I was getting one video out a week, and I was lucky if I did. And just, it was really difficult, and still is. So when I get a new computer, I'm probably going to edit more of my videos in HitFilm, but for now, I'm sticking with Power Director. Something else you can use if you have Android devices, KineMaster, or KineMaster, or however I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Kine Master. It's another thing. I don't use it. I don't feel comfortable with it. I probably should use it because I think it has more options than HitFilm does. I'm just more comfortable with HitFilm, so, or not HitFilm, with a Power Director. I'm sorry. I'm more comfortable with Power Director than I am with KineMaster. I probably am going to look into KineMaster more, because the thing with KineMaster and Power Director that kind of sets them apart, Power Director has a subscribe service thing. The thing that with Power Director that I did, but it turned subscription about a year ago. Before that, it was a pay $5 once and you get all of this, and I did. I got all of it. And with KineMaster, it still has that. And I think KineMaster's is more expensive because I think Power Directors is maybe like $20 a year, I believe. I might be wrong, but I believe it's about $20 a year. Although I know for a fact that who's it? I'm trying to think. The KineMaster one is $40. I'm not entirely sure how expensive the HitFilm one is. I'm sorry, I'm trying to look for it right now, actually. I'm trying to see, like, oh, is it expensive? I'm not too sure, but I have no idea, but I think it's a little less expensive, so who knows? You can look for it and find it, probably. So, sorry that I was, like, stuttering throughout the last minute. It was just kind of like I was trying to look at it while talking at the same time, and that's kind of difficult in some scenarios, but don't worry, it's good now. We're good. So, with editors, it's all up to personal preference, but I would test the waters before you choose an editor, because you don't want to get too comfortable with something and then find something else that's so much better and then have to readjust. And on your computer, there are also like Camtasia and stuff, but I would go with HitFilm just from the get-go, because Camtasia is not as professional as HitFilm is. There are some people who can work wonders with Camtasia, like push it to its absolute limits. But if you're new to video creation, you probably are not one of those people. So that's not a good idea to push anything like that to its limits. So that was basically just how you could get started with equipment, what equipment is best. If there's anything that I missed, please let me know. If you guys want to learn how to capture like footage and stuff, just look at Elgato. Just Elgato capture cards. That's what I was forgetting. Elgato capture cards for recording like Switch, PS4, or not PS4, but Xbox and stuff, like just anything with HDMI, like consoles and stuff, to record that. Emulators, if you want to play games like emulation. Fine, you can look for tripods and lighting. That's all something that I cannot recommend, because I'm not like too familiar with all that. But with lighting, I would say I don't use it. I used to. I don't have any space in my office to. But if you use certain kinds of lighting, then I would say open up with the umbrella light thing. I have one, and it cost me like $20 to get it. It's one of those lights with the umbrellas on it. You see them in photo shoots and stuff. I'm not entirely sure what they're called, but open up with those. Or just get your lamps and your lights and stuff and just kind of set it up. Like currently, I'm here with 2 lamps, and this is just the lights that I use to record, and it looks nice. I might upgrade lights soon. I'm not entirely too sure, but yeah, so that's about it for all the equipment that we had to go through, and all the equipment that I use, and all the equipment that you should use, and all the equipment that beginners should use. So if I missed anything, please let me know. And it was really nice to be able to talk about it. I really appreciate you guys' support. We are almost at 500 subscribers on the YouTube channel. So, go listen to this on YouTube if you haven't already. Go listen to it on Anchor if you haven't already. Go listen to it on anything else if you haven't already. I appreciate the support so much. I'm your host, SM22, and this has been the SMCast.